Good morning and welcome to the Morning Report. My name is Willie Lawson. The Morning Report is a production of fightbackmedia.com, 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 and fightbackmediatv.com. It's getting crazy. It's been crazy, but it's getting weird, crazy, third world, banana republic kind of crazy. We'll talk about it all when we get back from these messages.
Blue Conservative. Small businesses are near and dear to your heart. They are the lifeblood of our life and economy. I believe this, and that's why my florist is not a website or phone number. My florist is Blooming Days Flower Shop, Tampa's premier flower shop. At 11618 North Florida Avenue here in Tampa, Florida, and at 6835 State Road 54 in Newport Richey. Call Christine at 813-933-1942 and at 727-232-6900. She can also be reached on the web at www.bloomingdays.com. One of the things that I get asked most is where can I get information that is not tainted with liberal bias, especially here in the Tampa Bay area. Well, now I have the answer. tbctampa.com, a website by and for Tampa area conservatives. Tampa's leading conservative voices speak freely at tbctampa.com. And you can too. So join the fun and enjoy the freedom at tbctampa.com. My name is Willie Lawson, and this is the Morning Report.
Well, good morning. It is the 20th of March, 2023. And according to a post that former President Trump posted on Truth Social, which is still booty because it's still not available for Androids, but that's my own personal gripe. He mentioned that he is going to be arrested tomorrow. And some of you may say, arrested for what? A lot of people are like, well, why are they going to arrest Trump? Apparently, there is a Manhattan DA that has decided that he is going to bring charges against Trump due to the Stormy Daniels thing. And you got Stormy Daniels, yeah, the porn star that apparently Trump had an affair with or had some dealing with, and apparently paid her like I think the figure was like $130,000 and shut up and go away. Here's an opinion piece that what's his name? I'm gonna find out who it is. Jonathan Turley wrote for The Hill. It says, although it may be politically popular, the case is legally pathetic. Bragg, who is the Manhattan DA, is struggling to twist state laws to effectively prosecute a federal case long ago rejected by the Justice Department against Trump over his payment of hush money to a former stripper, Stormy Daniels. In 2018, yeah, it's been a while. Charlie wrote how difficult such a federal case would be under the existing election laws. Now, 6 years later, the same theory may be shoehorned into a state claim. It is extremely difficult to show that paying money to cover up an embarrassing affair was done for election purposes, as opposed to an array of obvious other reasons, from protecting a celebrity's reputation to preserving a marriage. In this case, Trump reportedly paid Daniels $130,000 in the fall of 2016 to cut off or at least reduce any public scandal. The Southern District of New York U.S. Attorney's Office had no love lost for Trump, pursuing him and his associates in a myriad of investigations, but ultimately rejected a prosecution based on the election law violation. It was not alone. The Federal Election Commission chair also expressed doubts about the theory. Now, and a lot of people aren't understanding why all this is. All this has to do with timing, basically. The $130,000 that Trump allegedly, I guess he did, I don't know, I'm guessing, paid to Stormy Daniels to sort of get her to go away. Again, like Jonathan Turley says, it could have been for, hey, listen, man, I'm a celebrity, and I don't want my reputation damaged. People do that all the time. Or, you know what? Yeah, my wife and I were struggling, and now we're good again. Could you just here? Thanks for your services. The biggest tip you've ever got. Well, maybe the second biggest tip. Anyway, the state charges in an expected indictment are still unknown, but Turles expects they will fall under Section 175 for falsifying business records, which is typically a misdemeanor. Turning it into a Class E felony requires showing that the intent to defraud includes an intent to commit another crime or to aid or conceal the commission thereof. That other crime would appear to be the federal election violations, which the Justice Department previously declined to charge. Now, the DOJ already said we're not getting into it. The linkage to a federal offense is critical for another reason. Turley says Bragg's office ran out of time to prosecute this as a misdemeanor years ago. The statute of limitations is 2 years. Even if he shows this is a viable felony charge, the longer 5-year limitation could be hard to establish. However, all the legal problems with the case won't matter in the coming frenzy. Turley says the season opener of America's Got Trump may be a guaranteed hit with this New York audience, but it should be a flop as a prosecution. Folks, this is why what Senator John Kennedy, Republican from Louisiana, is saying is important. He added his voice to this whole thing. Again, Trump posted on Truth Social, which is booty because it's still not on Android. But he'd be arrested on Tuesday on the 21st. That's tomorrow. And stupidly, ridiculously called for protests. Now, why is that stupid? You're going to ask me, well, Willie, why is that stupid? It's stupid for this reason, because you will get suckered in again. Did you not see what happened on January 6th? Did you, as things are coming out, do you not see how you were suckered in? Do you not see how you were fooled? Do you not see how you were hoodwinked? Do you not see how there are people who were instigators, who were feds, who are still not prosecuted? I mean, do you not see that? And you're just being led down the primrose path again. So you could have more people land in jail for a year or 2 years. Really? All of it set up to damage Trump, every bit of it. And frankly, some of Mr. Trump's most, excuse me, President Trump's most ardent supporters, quite frankly, some of you don't have the sense that God gave an animal cracker. You don't. You don't have the sense God gave an animal cracker because you are as reactionary as the left. You are as reactionary as the left. And you shouldn't be. Hell, even Pence gets this right. Pence says it reeks of the kind of political prosecution that we endured back in the days of the Russia hoax. You may not like Pence, but he's right here. It reeks of the kind of political prosecution that we endured back in the days of the Russia hoax and the whole impeachment over a phone call with the guy that the left loves now, right? Zelensky. And one thing that I knew that former President Trump can take care of himself, Pence. He can take care of himself. He doesn't need you to get in the streets. He doesn't need you to go to New York. He doesn't need you to go to your state capital. He doesn't need that. As a matter of fact, that'd be the worst thing. The former vice president who in the past has thrown Trump under the bus, well, Pence has been truthful. He has been truthful in his own truth. Supported Trump by expressing his anger with the woke justice system as President Joe Biden continues to get away with shady business deals connected to his family relationship with communist China. Pence acknowledged there is one standard for Republicans, especially anybody associated with Trump, including him, really. But the fact of that the media has almost no interest whatsoever in the truth about Hunter Biden's ties and investments being made into the Biden family and the connection in China and elsewhere, Pence added, the American people see right through it. And I think, look, no one is above the law, but I am deeply concerned about the politicization that we've seen in the Justice Department. And frankly, the criminalization of politics in America. It is doing nothing to help relieve the struggles that American people are facing every single day. Think one way or the other about Mike Pence. He's right here. He is absolutely correct. Yes, this is terrible, but it's going to fail. It is not going to end. Hell, I think this is funny. Give me a second here. I think this is funny. And I did this wrong. Let me try this again. There we go. Even Chris Rock gives Democrats a warning about doing this. Chris Rock says, and I won't try to impersonate him. Are you guys really going to arrest Trump? Do you know that this is only going to make him more popular? Like arresting Tupac. He's just going to sell more records. Are you stupid? Trump effed a porn star and paid someone so his wife couldn't find out. That's romantic. We've all been cheated on. Do you wish that person that cheated on you paid off somebody so you wouldn't find out? It's going to make him more popular. It's going to steal the resolve of his most ardent followers. No doubt. Easy. What the left never figured out, and still hasn't figured out, is that the best thing you can do is build your own candidates. Come up with a better mousetrap. Build a better candidate. But then you came up with Joe Biden. So you had to do what you had to do so you could elect Joe Biden. 81 million votes, more votes than Barack Obama, the first black president. Really? Okay. But this constant barrage, this never-ending barrage to submarine Trump, starting to wear thin, folks. People are starting to figure it out. The word from Fight Back Media is this: be smart. We have to be smart and not reactionary. We have to be. It isn't like we don't see it. It isn't like we don't feel it. But inappropriate behavior will damage us more than help us at this point. So is it okay now? Because it was, I mean, during the Trump administration, it is okay to talk about the president's.
Yeah, we talked about mental health elderly, so let's talk about this guy mental health.
The president's mental acuity, because there's sometimes where it seems to be lacking. Have you seen?
Sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes it's especially bad. I mean, I'm talking about sometimes it's like really bad. Like, have you seen the picture?
I was told not to take any questions.
I was told not to take any questions. They're going to be mad at me.
They're going to be mad at me.
Mr.
President, are you the president or were you five?
You see, what I want. See, the next question is, excuse me,
I was told to call on what you call it for NBC. Who's telling you to call on?
That's the question that we ought to be asking. Who's telling you this?
I mean, I don't understand why nobody won't ask that question.
Is Jen Psaki actually the president?
Who's telling you to call on these people in the media?
Is Jen Psaki actually the president?
Probably so.
All right, welcome back. You're probably wondering, okay, all this is happening with Trump. What's Ron DeSantis' point? Does DeSantis hop in there and uses as a stepping stone, as a place to go forward? Maybe not. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis finally gave his thoughts today on the news that former President Trump could be indicted by the Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg over alleged payments to Stormy Daniels as hush money. Calling the news about the historic possibility rumors, well, they are rumors because we don't know for sure. DeSantis said, I don't know what goes into paying hush money to a porn star to secure silence over some type of alleged affair. Can't speak to that. That's their business. He didn't say that. I said that. I mean, I can't speak to that. Adding that Bragg, again, is a Soros-backed DA who has not prosecuted serious crimes, and now he's going after Trump for political reasons. Bragg chooses to go back many years ago to try to use something about how porn star hush money payments, that's an example of pursuing a political agenda and weaponizing the office. And I think that's fundamentally wrong. DeSantis went on to say Soros-backed DAs across the country are a menace to society, and he's the only governor in the country to remove a Soros-backed DA with an investigation into another one currently underway. We won't be involved in this. I have no interest in getting involved in some sort of manufactured circus by some Soros DA. Okay, he's trying to do a political spectacle. He's trying to virtue signal for his base. I've got real issues. I've got a deal here. I got to deal with here in the state of Florida. He continued. I've got to spend my time on issues that actually matter to people. I think this is some fantastic political judo. The weight of the thing comes towards you, you just redirect it over there. There's no reason to get entangled. No entanglements, right? Right, Chris? No entanglements. I don't know about how all this started. I'm not getting into that. Can't speak to any of that. But it's obvious where this is coming from. It's obvious where it's coming from, right? Even Ron DeSantis knows. Okay, here you go, folks. Mike Pence and Ron DeSantis have both said this is some political BS. I mean, right now, Mike Pence, I believe, is got at least an exploratory committee in running for president in 2024. Everybody believes that Ron DeSantis is going to run for president in 2024. He might not. I don't know. I'm hoping not, because I'd rather have him as my governor, frankly. But if he does, he's a grown man. He can do whatever the hell he wants to do. Both of them have said, hey, listen, this is a political stunt, and everybody knows it. Everybody freaking knows it. Which means you don't need to be getting on the next Spirit airline flight to New York today to do anything. And if you're already there, go home. I tweeted the other day that if Trump gets indicted, gets arrested and indicted, then where you need to go is to church. We need to pray for our nation, because that's going to do a lot more good in the short and long term than anything that you could do tramping around the filthy, dirty streets of New York or Washington, D.C.
True Blue Conservative, small businesses are near and dear to your heart. They are the lifeblood of our life and economy. I believe this, and that's why my florist is not a website or phone number. My florist is Bloomingdale's Flower Shop, Tampa's premier flower shop. At 11618 North Florida Avenue here in Tampa, Florida, and at 6835 State Road 54 in Newport Richey. Call Christine at 813-933-1942 and at 727-232-6900. She can also be reached on the web at www.bloomingdays.com.
Bank bailouts. While some Democrats have, and not entirely hop on this train, others have regarding the collapse of the Silicon Valley Bank, they blame Trump. Of course they blame Trump. Senator Elizabeth Warren, failed candidate for president and failed American Indian, the left's most prominent race hoaxer, has firmly planted her flag on this hill and is willing to die on it. Former Representative Barney Frank, who's involved in a lot of this mess, the man behind the 2010 Dodd-Frank bill. We saw how well that's worked, especially in the banking institution, right? Which aimed to prevent such financial institution failures. Failure. Says Trump 2017 tweaks to the act did little or to nothing to facilitate the bank's demise. Now, Barney Frank said, didn't have anything to do with it. Barney Frank, whose boyfriend was running a male prostitution ring out of Barney Frank's house, out of his basement. Yeah, that Barney Frank. Frank faces a rather embarrassing situation right now, being on the board of Signature Bank, which was shuttered over systemic risk concerns. Signature was a cryptocurrency outfit. Now we've learned that the Federal Reserve knew about SVB's risky behavior. It's like an FBI thing. Yeah, they were on our radar. He was on our radar. Um, and had it under supervisory review for a year. And the bank itself didn't heed any of the warnings or recommendations offered. The bank basically did this, gave the middle finger to the Federal Reserve, right? Which kind of put it in harm's way of the Federal Reserve, probably, right? Um, Namely, that the model they were using for risk assessment was incorrect to avoid it. This is from the New York Times. Silicon Valley Bank's risky practices were on the Federal Reserve's radar for more than a year. An awareness that proved insufficient to stop the bank's demise. The Fed repeatedly warned the bank that it had problems, according to a person familiar with the matter. In 2021, a Fed review of the growing bank found serious weaknesses in how it was handling key risks. Supervisors at the Federal Reserve Bank of San Francisco, which oversaw Silicon Valley Bank, issued 6 citations, those warnings known as matters requiring attention and matters requiring immediate attention, flagged that the firm was doing a bad job of ensuring that it would have enough easy to tap cash on hand in event of trouble. But the bank did not fix its vulnerabilities. So by July 2022, Silicon Valley Bank was in full supervisory review, getting a more careful look, and was ultimately rated deficient for governance and control. It was placed under a set of restrictions and prevented it from growing through acquisitions. So that means they just couldn't just buy more stuff and then grow that way and take care of their problems. Last autumn, New York Times, right? Instead of last fall, staff members from San Francisco Fed met with senior leaders at the firm to talk about their availability to gain access to enough cash in a crisis and possible exposure to losses as interest rates rose. It became clear to the Fed that the firm was using bad models to determine how its businesses would fare under central bank if the central bank raised rates. Its leaders were assuming that higher interest revenue would substantially help their financial situation as rates went up. But it was out of step with reality. It was just foolishness. By early 2023, Silicon Valley Bank was in what the Fed calls a horizontal review, an assessment meant to gauge the risk of risk management. That checkup identified additional deficiencies. But at that point, the bank's days were numbers. In early March, it faced a run and failed within a matter of days. Now, SVB was an institution whose customer base was primarily in the high-tech industry, which has been shellacked for nearly a year on Wall Street, exposing the bank. The run came when the bank announced a massive capital raise to cover the immense losses that it incurred. So when they announced that capital raise, a lot of those people who had their money there, especially these big firms, went, thumbs up, let's get out. I made it. So this shockingly wasn't a surprise. The Fed knew the bank was using faulty models and methods to conduct its business. And on SVB's part, they did nothing. Just let it happen. This was never Trump's fault. This was bad practices by the bank. So now when you hear, and you'll see on MSNBC, and you'll see on CNN, and you'll see on in the Daily Caller, the Daily Beast, that this is all Trump's fault. Nonsense. This is bad behavior on the part of the bank, using, again, models and methodologies that were out of step with reality. But it only blows up the argument that for that, but should also end the debate about a soft bailout for these folks. There shouldn't be any, because they failed, and money's lost. Is their fault. And what should happen is that those people who lost money should sue them. Now, I don't know if you can sue them, because there's probably no assets there, other than there may be some physical assets there. They knew the risks. They ignored them. They took a wanton disregard for the institution's health. Let them burn. Now, here's what I learned yesterday by watching a video with Janet Yellen. Janet Yellen of the Treasury has basically said that all the people who are in this SVB and Signature, regardless of their bad behavior, they would be made whole. They would be made whole. And what that means is that even if they had money over the $250,000 insured limit from FDIC, they would be made whole, no matter who they were, even if they were investment entities from communist China. Now, regional banks, if something happened at a regional bank where you or I may have our life savings, and the same thing happened, and you had over $250,000, in an IRA or whatever, you would be screwed because you would not be one of the chosen banks. So what happens is those large depositors who are in regional banks, holding up regional banks, are going to say, oh, crap. If the regional banks aren't going to be made whole over $250,000 like these other banks, these chosen banks, we'll just move our funds out of these these regional banks to the big banks, because those are the ones that are going to be made whole if there's a problem. You see how this destabilizes the banking system? But it's okay because it's on purpose. Create the crisis so you can invoke the fix. We knew it was coming, right? My name is Willie Lawson. This has been The Morning Report. The Morning Report is a production of FightBackMedia.com, 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 and FightBackMediaTV.com. Till we see you again, go out there and learn something, love somebody, and for goodness sakes, y'all take care of yourself. We'll see you when we see you. Bye-bye now.